Have you ever been to a Rolex watch sale? Or maybe you remember that famous Black Friday when you could grab 3 pairs of watches for the price of one? Me, neither. Rolex is one of the few brands in the world that never offers discounts. But why? Is it just arrogance, or is there a genius marketing strategy behind it?
Nice.
I'm Mike, and today we are diving deep into the psychology of this luxury brand. In this video, you will find out why Rolex does not use common advertising, how they can make you swim for 10 hours or become a spy, and why their no discounts policy actually makes them even more desirable. Sit back, we are getting started. This year, the famous Swiss watch brand celebrates its 120th anniversary. Not many companies can boast of such a lifespan. And that's why we are especially interested in the company's time-proven marketing strategy. And what's the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about marketing? Of course, it's advertising. And what about Rolex? Right, it has barely any. No Super Bowl ads, no YouTube pre-rolls. Instead, they embed themselves into culture. Rolex is worn by influential figures like Warren Buffett, Roger Federer, and even James Bond. Speaking of him, there is a fascinating fact. In the movie Dr. No, Sean Connery wore a Rolex Submariner for the first time. It became the ultimate spy watch immediately. But here is the twist. Rolex didn't pay for that placement. The prop master just thought it looked cool.
Yeah, cool, man.
So the Swiss company saw the hype and quickly leaned into it for decades without ever admitting they didn't plan it. That's how the brand relies on aspirational visibility rather than direct promotion. When the world's most successful people, and especially a well-known spy, wear Rolex, it becomes subconscious status symbol. Luxury and status can also be highlighted by sponsorship. Rolex usually sponsors elite sports like tennis, golf, and sailing. It also encourages exploration, like deep sea missions or Everest expeditions. For example, in 1927, Mercedes glides swarmed the English Channel, wearing a Rolex Oyster, spending more than 10 hours in the chilly waters between France and Great Britain. At the end of the swim, the waterproof wristwatch was declared to be in a perfect working order. By associating with extreme sports, the brand proves that its watches are not just jewelry, but high-performance tools. And all these sponsorship campaigns work as the reinforcement of the idea that Rolex is for winners, adventurers, and high achievers. Another thing without which Rolex would not be Rolex is their timeless branding. The Swiss watch brand rarely changes its designs drastically. For example, the Submariner today looks almost identical to the 1954 original. While other brands try to be hip and trendy, Rolex stays elegantly consistent, which makes every watch instantly recognizable and ensures they never go out of style. And in their quest to preserve this consistency, the watch brand is ready for anything. Once they sued a Swiss company, Artisans de Genève, for customizing their watches. Customizers added rainbow dials and clear case backs on real Rolexes. In short, the Rolex accusation was that if it's not 100% ours, it's counterfeit. The case was settled, but now every modified Rolex had to scream "not a Rolex product" or get an approval from the trademark's owners. For example, Artisans de Genève would need Rolex's approval to advertise Rolex watches it has customized for clients, since this would be a commercial use of its trademarks. Brand's consistency is not the only thing Rolex cares about. As you may have already noticed, the company is rather conservative, and their most important rule is not to give a discount. So why do they have such a strict pricing policy? First of all, Rolex is not about time. It's about status. Their watch acts as a measure of success, and it simply loses its appeal if everyone can get it. By refusing discounts, Rolex maintains an aura of exclusivity. If they started offering sales, suddenly their watches would feel more common, and that's the last thing a luxury brand wants. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a Ferrari on sale? Exactly, high-end brands thrive on scarcity and prestige, not affordability. Another reason. Rolex watches hold their value incredibly well, some even become more expensive over time. If the company started discounting new watches, it would hurt the resale market. A brand new Rolex selling at 20% off today means pre-owned models lose value tomorrow. By keeping prices firm, the company ensures its watches remain a solid investment. By calling Rolex an investment, I'm not even exaggerating. Every year, analysts try to predict which watches will skyrocket in price and which won't. Not to mention the incredible examples in watches history that are now gathering dust in collectors' safes. Just so you know, the most expensive Rolex watch in the world is Paul Newman's Cosmograph Daytona, which was bought in 1968 and was sold after a half of century on auction for more than $17 million. How much do you think this watch cost in 1968? $200. Well, let's go back to the non-discount policy. Rolex is renowned for strict control over its distribution. They only sell through authorized dealers known as ADs, who follow their pricing rules. If the company allowed discounts, some dealers might undercut others, leading to price wars and loss of brand's prestige. By enforcing a non-discount policy, they keep everything consistent and high-end. So no, your uncle's friend who can get you a 50% off Rolex is definitely not an authorized dealer. Have you ever heard about psychology of perceived value? Well, it's based on the customer's belief that a certain brand meets or exceeds their expectations. So when something never goes on sale, our brains automatically assume it's worth the full price.
It was worth it.
If Rolex suddenly started discounting, people would wonder, is it really that valuable? By sticking to the fixed pricing, they reinforce the idea that a Rolex is worth every penny, no question asked. It's like that saying, if you have to ask the price, you can't afford it. The Swiss brand doesn't want bargain hunters, they want believers. And finally, Rolex doesn't need discounts because demand is always higher than supply. They deliberately produce fewer watches. Popular models like Daytona or Submariner have waiting lists years long, so if people are willing to pay full price, or even more on the gray market, why would Rolex ever make a discount? Okay, let's summarize what we have learned about the Rolex marketing strategy. They'll sue everyone for changing their own watches. They'll let you wait years to buy one, just to make it feel rare. They'll put a watch on you and make you fly to the moon to show you how cool their watch is. Seriously thought, unlike most companies that chase mass-market sales, Rolex thrives on exclusivity, prestige, and unwavering value. And they don't do discounts because they don't have to. So, would you wait 3 years for a Rolex or buy another luxury watch? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video interesting, please like it and subscribe. And I want to remind you that in addition to marketing cases on YouTube, we also make useful practical workshops. Just follow the link in the description and find out the details. Thank you for your time and see you in the next video.